Well, welcome everybody to Breaking the Silence, Keeping It Real with Lady V. Hey, how is everybody? It seems like it has been a while since we have had this show. I mean, I started a new job and a lot of things just occurred, and so had to put the show on pause. But I have truly missed all of you, and so I'm really hoping that uh, you're viewing us tonight. We want to welcome all of our Facebook viewers and Instagram and TikTok and Caribbean Jammers. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We truly, truly missed you. So, before we start, I want to introduce my two co-hosts. They're on tonight, and we have some other ones coming on, but as they drop in, then I'll introduce them too. But we want to welcome Dr. Yvonne Bennett to the show. How are you today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing real good.
Good.
Busy, like you, busy but good.
All right. I'm loving the colors and the hair. It looks really
Yes.
pretty.
I'm trying to work it.
You're doing
Had
a
to
good
find something
job.
simple that I could do. I'm not good with hair like you and Joy.
You're doing a good job. It's all right.
Yep.
It's all right. And welcome, welcome, beautiful Joy. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Can't complain.
Good, good. Well, um, it is Women's Month and it's almost at the end. And I kind
Mhm.
of bounce back and forth with topics because there's so many things going on, with women and all the way from self-care to
Mhm.
work industry and then we have the different ages and all of that. But I saw this video and it's what made me go ahead and go with this topic because I think that in today's world things have truly changed with women. And the lady was saying, how women have gotten to the place where they feel as though they're okay with being by themselves and independent. And they feel as though the reason why they don't have a man is because they men feel intimidated by independent women. So I wanted to talk about it. I said, I feel it's a good topic. Whether you're married, whether you're single, you know, uh, we welcome your comments because I think it's worth talking about. A lot of men say, women are just too independent. You can't do anything for them these days. So, let's dive into it. What do you think? What do you think, Joy? What do you think?
Well, I think that this whole women being independent, I a part of me believe that that's women's like that's their shield so that they don't, have to be in a relationship, or if the relationship fell, it's like, oh yeah, well, it's because I was too independent. But I don't think as women, innately our nature is to be these independent, I need to go at this alone kind of people. Like that's not the way God created us to be. So I don't believe innately that women, we really, if we got rid of all of the other baggage on all the other stuff that, got compiled on top of us, like with
Hmm.
relationships, daddy issues, mommy issues, I think then we could really fall into our fall into who we're made to be. And I don't think that that's supposed to be this independent, I don't need no man type of people.
So, what about just the independence? Is it wrong for women to be independent?
I don't think it's wrong for women to be independent because sometimes life calls for women to have to stand up and be independent. I mean, if you left with children, you can't just sit by the wayside and cry and, act as if you don't have a job and a duty to do. You still have to stand up and do it. So I believe women should be able to be independent when life calls on that situation to happen. But um just to basically characterize yourself as an independent woman, I don't think that's healthy for the mindset, nor do I think it's healthy for family and family dynamic for women to think that way.
Okay, Dr. Bennett.
Yeah, I concur. I agree with Joy. Um, I don't think you should become um, so super independent that you can't do something or things for yourself. But like Joy said, I know for a fact it's not God's plan for us to be so super independent that we don't need a man. You know, I don't think that's not healthy, especially in this day and time, because you'll pass that on to this generation. But I do believe that women should be able to do some things for themselves. In other words, educate yourself so that if you choose to, I think it should be a matter of choice. If you want to go to work, you should be able to go to work, but you should be able to get the type of work that you want. I also don't think it's healthy just for a woman to sit around and solely depend upon a man. I think you have to, you have to have those boundaries. Whereas, for instance, what if the relationship don't work? What do you do then? So I think you should have, some type of independence, but not so super that that is so visible that the man feels like, oh, she don't need me. Because a lot of women do that. A lot of women come off and let a man know, I really don't, I can fend for myself. I really don't need you. I don't think that's the message that we want to get across.
Well, okay, so when we talk about independence, um, what is the definition? Because I'm looking at independence as you're being able to um, provide and take care of yourself.
Mhm.
Now, um, I don't think that that's saying you don't need a man. What I am saying is if you don't have a man, then you should be independently taking care of yourself. But if a man comes into your life, it also has to be where you're able to and I think Daphne said it shouldn't be overbearing. It shouldn't be overbearing. It should be a balance in between.
Right,
And
right.
I think that a lot of times what we're seeing now is, women are so super independent until it's like a man can't do anything for them. It's like I have my own money, I have my own cars, I have my own this, I have my own that. So then the flip side, they go, well, where's all the good men? Well, they're running from the independent women because you already done told them that there's nothing that you really, really need from them. And that very well may be true. I may be standing on my own 2 feet with everything that I have and could be making more money than that person that is interested in me. But at the same time, how do I bring that balance? Because it's not going to always be where the man makes more money than the woman.
That's
So
true.
does that take away from, should she step down from the independence, or should men be bothered by that?
I think that because I don't think that independence should just be solely based upon the money. I've seen relationships where women made more money than a man, but that his finances doesn't dictate who he is as the leader, and like he provided a whole lot of other things to that household, besides just the finances. Of course, he provided monetary um help, I guess, or his part in the finances, but he was an amazing dad. He was an amazing husband. He took care of his family, emotionally. They always felt protected. And I feel like sometimes as women, the only thing we see men as is just the finances. And it's like, oh, well, if you don't make as much money as I make, then I have no need for you. But men bring in a slew of other really great things that women and children need in order to survive and to feel safe and to feel secure. And I think once we dig into that, I don't think this whole I can be independent.
But are we okay? So are we taking and defining independence as not needing a man? Because I think that, in all honesty, if you have a woman that has gone, she's gone and she's gotten her own job and she has her own
Mm-hmm.
money and she's taking care of, whether she's taking care of her children or not, you know, if there's no children or if there are children, and she is holding it down, why should she change? Because that's what she's doing, that's what she's been so in the dynamics of you having a woman that has had to provide for herself, she doesn't have a husband, so she really pretty much has learned how to adapt without a man. So is she wrong for doing that?
No, she's not wrong, because she has to do that.
Yeah.
But the problem becomes when, a man comes into her life and now she cannot play the help meet side of the relationship because she's so used to wearing the pants. So she can't understand someone else being a leader of the household. She has to be she wants her word to be, concrete in God's word. With when that's not the way it's supposed to be set up. In a relationship, that's not the way it's going to work. You can, even as a woman, and even with men, if men are, just gun hold on, it's my way or it's the highway, eventually you're going to find yourself lonely, because you still have to combine your lives. You still have to learn how to compromise. You still have to learn how to live life and do life with someone else.
That's true.
It doesn't matter if this is what she was doing when she was single. It's just the point of women having to learn how to alter their lives to be a partner in a relationship.
Yeah, I think when it comes to independence, a single woman like Joy is talking about, she can be as independent as she wants to be when she's single. But when someone comes into your life, you don't want to take that leadership role from a man in the household. It will come back to bite you in the butt every time. It will. You don't want to strip a man. You never want to strip a man down from that. It's not saying that you're helpless, and you don't want to portray that either. But you don't want to strip a man down from being the provider or the leadership, having the leadership role in the household. Because when you take that from a man, you get a couch potato.
Yep.
And then you want him to do, and he don't do, because you've been doing. And that's that. In my line of work, I see it all the time.
So should she stop doing?
She should stop. She should stop trying to lead everything. There's certain things that you do that you should be, you have to set boundaries. There's certain things that you should take the responsibility in doing, like planning the meals and so forth and so on. But when it comes to that overall, I'm seeing it happen every day in my line of work, where women they've been so independent all throughout their singlehood. Now that they're married, they want to be, they still want to carry on that independence. And this is what I see. For instance, I saw a lady the other day. I had to take note to a place where you take your children for checkups. And this lady had twin girls, 15 months old, in a carry-up. In this carry, she had to carry both, and she was pregnant with twin boys. Where was the man? Because she's probably done it so much. I can do this, I can do that. It's not good. When you strip a man from, carrying that leadership role, you pull a lot from a man. I'll tell you, you have a couch potato on your hand. They will just stop. Hey, she don't need me. That's not good. It's not good.
I totally agree. But on the flip side, now let's look at it on the other side. She's making 150,000 plus. She has her own home. She has her own cars. She has her own money. She has her own bank account. She's been taking care of her children. Her children are now grown. So does she really need that man for provision?
No, not necessarily. She don't necessarily need him for provision, but she still needs not to strip him, even though he may be making less. You can't throw in a man's face, look, I make more money than you, so I'm in control. You don't want to ever portray that as a woman to a man. I don't care how
Well,
much you make.
so he can't afford her lifestyle, but she loves him.
Yeah, and
So should the lifestyle he can't pay her mortgage.
yeah, but that still don't put her in that leadership role as far as the portrayal part of it. You know, just because a woman makes more money, and a lot of women do now make more money than the man, there's still, you know, you come together and there's a way you handle that. Look, we're gonna put all this money. I know a few couples like that right now. They put all their money together. They don't look at I make this and you make. They just put their money together. They pay the bills, and this is your, you know, you take this for yourself and I take this for myself. We do this for savings, and that's it. This way, it doesn't look like because I make more than you, I got all the say so. That's not healthy.
Okay. Okay. So are men intimidated or are men intimidated or irritated by women's independence?
Well, once again, it depends on how she puts that thing forth. It depends on her attitude.
I totally
Okay,
agree.
but she has a good attitude. Because you have some men they're just intimidated.
Yeah,
Or do
that's
we
true.
think that men are intimidated by women who are holding it down?
Well, usually when you see that, it's a man that has some insecure issues to start with.
Okay.
You know, they're insecure and they've experienced some things from home and they never got rid of it. So, you know, no woman is gonna, I don't care how much you make, I don't care that you know no woman's gonna tell me what to do. But she don't have to, she's probably not telling you what to do. We're just trying to, you know, blend. But, you know, I think that's a sign of insecurity.
All right.
So on the flip side, Joy, do you think women have lost confidence in men?
I believe so, but I believe that's because a lot of them may not even have had a father growing up. You have to realize we're a lot of the women, a lot of the people in this generation or generations, probably right before, you know, the 20 somethings that are growing up now. A lot of them didn't have fathers in the household. And you know, you gotta realize the crack epidemic came in the 80s. A lot of people were hooked on drugs, and you know, so a lot of people never understood what it was to have a healthy man in a household.
Right. Right.
And
Mm.
so when you don't recognize the value of a man, no man becomes valuable to you at this point. So you when you grow up, all you see is a dad, because you've been used to probably getting child support checks or hearing your mom talk about child support and finances. The only thing you value a man to is what he can bring monetarily to your life.
Mm-hmm.
But you never understood that, oh wow, a father, you know, brings it helps the kids with their self-confidence. You know, he helped to bring some type of discipline and some type of stableness. You know, there's certain things that fathers can talk to their children that mothers can't do because of what, you know, the role that a father plays in the life of a child. And I think because of that, women have lost, you know, confidence in, oh well, if a man's not going to be able to, you know, make the same amount of money I have or more, then I don't need him. I don't see no point in them. And they may say, I'm not going to date no man who, if I'm making 150,000, I'm not going to date no man who makes $60,000. What can he do for me?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not realizing that if you guys put your money together and you guys built a family,
Mm-hmm.
because guess what? At $150,000 a year, trust me, you're busy. So even if you have children, you're not really able to spend that quality time with your children. A lot of times those children are latchkey children.
Right.
Um, and they're basically raising themselves because
Right.
no one is really at the house with them because you have work. And when you come home from work, you probably have to, you know, catch up on some things and stuff like that. So I believe that women have lost confidence in men, but I think that's a lot due to the way a woman was reared. If she had a good father and you know she had a mother who taught her the importance of men, I think she has a little bit more faith than women who, you know, didn't have that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's talk about the independent woman who has a man, but she wants to do her own thing. You know, she won't go on vacations. She wanna, you know, she she don't want to fit into that submissive plan because she said I want to be my own person. You know, so let's talk about that woman. You know, because you have a lot of independent women out there that have a man and they have chosen that they're going to make the decisions. They're going to, and I totally agree with something Daphne said. It's not about the money, but we see it all the time. We see the partnership where the woman makes the decisions. She does. She steps up and she's like, no, this is not how we're going to do it. This is where we're going to go. This is how this is done. This is how that's done. So what about that woman? Because
And
that
most of the times where I've seen situations like that, any woman could come and take that man because all she have to do is treat him like a man.
Mm-hmm.
And that man is so, his nose gets so wide open.
It's
He
very
don't care all what he's about to lose because he finally been talked to the way that he desired his wife to talk to him. But because she talked to him more like a son and he had to play that role,
she
she
starts
leaves that
seeing,
door open.
that's very true. He starts to see her as a mother instead of a wife. And that's one thing that will draw a man away, especially if he had a controlling mother.
Yeah.
Okay. So then how does that cross over from single to married? Like I know when I was single, I was independent. You know, I like to go where I wanted to go, do what I wanted to do, the whole 9 yards. The problem was guys will always say, you know, you do too much. You're doing a lot. You're doing a lot. Well, what's a lot? You know, why do I have to stop doing what I'm doing? Because you know, if you have your life, you have your life. So where does the boundaries come in? How do we set the boundaries?
You set the boundaries. First of all, Daphne said, chatted something in. You set the boundaries. Now we have to do a separation here. If you're talking about Christian women, you have to do it God's way.
Well, we're just talking about women because
okay.
the topic is the
God
independent woman.
God has a plan. Okay. So if you see it from God's perspective versus your own perspective, you can't go into a marriage after being single or going into a relationship thinking that, hey, I'm used to doing this. I'm used to doing my own thing. And it's going to be that way or that's it. And if you can't deal with me, you know, then we don't even have anything to talk about. Now, if he's smart, he will pick up his $2 off the table tip and he will leave. Because no real man is going to put up with that. No real man.
So is there a difference between independent and bossy?
Yes.
Because I'm hearing more of the bossy than I'm hearing the independence.
Yeah, well, you can be independent, and believe it or not, when independence goes to a certain level, it becomes bossy. It turns into a bossy woman. I'm used to doing this, and I'm used to doing that. I'm used to doing this. This is just me. Well, what about him? What about uniting? What about, let's put everything on the table to see if we blend to start so we won't waste each other's time. Unfortunately.
So how does that work how is that working in the work world? Because if we're saying that ideally men are and I'll use the church, okay? So if you have a woman who's a pastor, okay, and she's single and now she gets married, does she step down from being the pastor? Does she step down? So does he submit to the position?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you said the right word. When you're in ministry, if it's a female pastor, and this happened, with my uncle. My uncle was up underneath his wife for years until She passed away first, and then he passed away first. But it's called separation. You have to separate spouse from your leader. You have to do that.
So Daphne said they said the same thing to me. But if I'm single, I can do a lot. However, when I'm dating or married, things will alter in what I'm doing if it's a lot for him or us. I totally agree. But I guess I'm hearing more of the bossy than independence, because if I was already doing okay, so let me go back to the example of the woman who is providing for herself. She
Mhm.
makes enough money to provide for herself. She can buy anything she wants for
Mhm.
herself. So
Mhm.
now she gets a husband. Does she ask her husband, can she buy things?
If it's bigger purchases, yes, she has to.
Why?
Because that now her money has become their money.
Yes,
So you
absolutely.
have to take in you have to be considerate of the other person. In marriage, you cannot have a successful marriage and be inconsiderate of the other person,
That's right.
even
Absolutely.
if the man's making
But
all the
she's
money.
not being inconsiderate. She can afford it.
No, 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 no. What Joy is saying is absolutely accurate. When you're single, when you're
Don't play
single,
devil's
it's your
advocate. I'm
money.
sorry.
When you're single, it's your money. But when you get married, it's our money.
Right.
Right. So
That's the way
okay,
that
so let's
goes.
flip it. When a woman marries a man and he's making a half a mil or a million, and
Mhm.
he wants to go buy something.
He needs to consult with his wife before purchases, because that's how people get, you have a whole girl over here and you paying for her condo and you have a baby with her and you give her child support because you feel as though, oh, it's my money, I can make this, and you don't involve her, which is inconsiderate and sneaky. But so to alleviate all of that foolishness, I think when people get married, you have to be an open book. And if you're not ready to be an open book, you're not ready to compromise and understand that it's not just about you, but it's about y'all at this point. You don't need to get married. And if you find a man who's like, oh, well, you're doing too much, that may not be the man for you, because that man may want a simpler type of life.
That's
So
right.
not every man, just because he's attracted to you and you attract to him, mean that you guys are compatible for life.
Hmm.
You might be compatible for a season, but that doesn't mean that you can do life together. Because with doing life together, that means we both need to have the same vision. We both need to be going the same direction. We both need to be, like understanding that this is what you're gonna do, this is what I'm gonna do, and we accept each other for who we are, and this is how we're going to move forward. And a lot of times I believe that when people get married, people don't even think of the expectations that one may have for their husband or one may have for their wife, and they don't talk about those things. They just assume that when they get married that this person's going to automatically turn into the wife they want or the husband that they want, not realizing that you need to have those concrete conversations to see if this is what I want to do in my life, and if what I want for my life is compatible to what you want out of your life.
Right. And if you don't fit into that mode of each other, then you shouldn't get married,
Right.
because it's too late after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
You should deal with those things prior to and lay everything on the table. LadieVee said something about, I used to buy this, and now that I'm married, do I have to ask him? Well, once again, like Joy said, if it's a large purchase, but if you put that money together and you have your spending money and he has his spending money, you should be able to go and do what you want to do with that money that you have, instead of going into the joint account or
Right.
savings account and so forth and so on without talking about it. It's not a good thing. The things that tear up marriages is communication, finances, and sex. Bam, tear it apart.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go back to the spending, because I think I'm trying to wrap my head around how that works if both people are financially successful and they were already living on their own. They were living successfully on their own. They were paying their own bills on their own. Now they come together. Why do you have to ask the other person when you can't afford it? You
Okay.
literally, like, if I'm worth 5 mil and you worth 5 mil, why do I have to ask you?
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna help you out. Okay. There's two ways that you can do this. Just like Joy and I said, when you get married, you become one. So you put that money together and so forth and so on. Now the other way to do it, but you once again, it should be stated and agreed upon from the beginning. You keep your account and I keep my account. We set these household bills and I put this amount in and you put this amount in so we can take care of household bills, and that's it. Whatever you have left out of yours, whatever I have left over my, now you can do that. Some couples do that. And therefore you don't have to ask because you took care of the household bills. Okay? Now, the danger in that is this. If that man decides that you want to I don't no longer want this relationship. Now there's a mortgage that has to be paid. He was putting his piece in, you were putting your piece in, and now we're going to wait for a court date to see where the extra money is going to come from. So that's why it's dangerous. It's dangerous not to be honest and open. But if you how you start out is how you're going to end up.
Well, I guess the thing is, when I look at that, when I look at most women who are independent, and that goes back to um, why maybe men feel a little, get a little irritated or intimidated, is because if I'm living in my house and I'm paying my own mortgage, I don't need your money. So if I don't need your money, then
You said you're
I'm
living
not
in your
really
house.
I'm not really getting with you for money. I'm getting with
Right.
you for companionship. And
Okay.
I think that that's where a lot of men don't understand. Like, you got two people that are older. Now, I'm not talking about younger people, because a lot of times younger people, they do have to rely on each other's finances. But when you get together with somebody and you're already settled and established, I feel like a lot of times it is a lot of men, they really feel like, well, what can I do for her? You really financially probably can't do anything for her, because she has her own job, retirement, house, cars, furniture. So she doesn't need that part in her life, to be honest with you. She really doesn't. And there's nothing wrong with saying that. There's nothing wrong with saying, I've been working my job for 25 years and I can solely take care of myself. So she's probably not looking for a man to take care of her in that capacity.
Right.
Now, am I saying that she shouldn't submit? Absolutely. She should submit. But what if he moves in her home? If
Okay. Go ahead.
now she has the bigger home. He moves in her home. It's her home that she has been paying the mortgage or whatever, or the house could be paid for. All I'm saying is it wrong for her to think, okay, I am independent, I do take care of myself, and I would like a man, but I don't need a man to take care of me?
I think with that, I think that attitude is always going to come out, and it's going to come out in one way or another. Let's talk about the woman that is so super independent and she has her own home and so forth and so on, and she meets a man that don't have a home and he moves in with her. I can promise you it won't work.
Why?
Because the average man that moves in, a woman is different. If a man has a home and the woman moves in, it's different from that man moving in to that woman's home, whether it's a home, apartment, or whatever it is. It is something that keeps floating around in the air. He didn't provide for me. And I guarantee you, when that argument happens, it's going to come up. It's my place. I can already hear it. It's my place. I'm telling you, my line of work, I hear it all the time. This is my place. So when you saw a man that even buys a house for a woman and they have an argument, she will tell you in a minute, get out of my house. Oh yeah, it's going to come up. It's just that whole attitude thing. And once again, if that can be settled from the onset, from the very beginning, but you got to start that thing at the foundation. You can't start in the middle of the book. You got to start at the beginning.
And that type of woman, she has to understand that you can't be this, I'm independent, I don't need you.
Right.
Because guess what? Something may break in your house. That man can fix it. Mm-hmm. Your car may go out. You may need some man to come and come fix your tire, or change your oil, or let you know, babe, your oil needs to be changed in your car. Give me your car, let me go get the oil changed, or let me go in the garage and change your oil. There are so many other benefits that men bring. So for a woman to say, well, you can't take care of me, he can take care of you in a lot of other different aspects. The same way a woman could take care of a man men who are very successful and career driven. A lot of times the women do the smallest minute, what they consider smallest minute thing, cooking for him, making sure his clothes are picked up from the laundromat, making sure his house is in order. Those things, he may not realize how impactful those things are to his life. But just imagine if you had to come home from working 12-hour shifts, and now you got to try to prepare some type of food, and then you have to do laundry, and then you have to get the kids together. That's a lot. So this woman is helping to take some stuff off your plate. And the same thing with men. Men, guess what? You may have to, you tell your husband he handles X, Y, and Z around your house. You get a plumber come out your house. That's $200, $300, $400, $500,000. Well, $500. You get might have to get some type of roofing done. Anything. Some people would charge you, because you are a woman, charge you some outrageous prices, because they may feel like, oh, she don't know what the price range should be going for, so let me just get her for whatever. And especially if they think or know that you have some money, they're definitely gonna try to take you to the cleaners.
It's true.
So men play a good. So for women, for any woman to feel that way, I feel like she doesn't want to be in a relationship because she wants to wear the pants.
And she should stay single.
She should stay single. She should be her own man. If she's that independent, she should be her own man.
Yeah, because she's going to make a man very miserable.
Exactly.
Because it's going to come out. I don't care what day of the week or what month of the year, it's going to come out.
Yeah.
Because most women have a tendency to be very vocal, especially in the midst of a disagreement or whatever. She's going to show signs of, you don't know who I am. I told you from the beginning who I was. I told you from the beginning, I love you, but I don't need you. I love you, but I don't need you.
So her extravagant life should stop, or
it depends on who you marry. And like I said, that's why you have to really do your work, because there's some men who love to live extravagant lifestyles.
Right.
So if you can afford it and you get with a man that's like that, then you have no problem. Right. But if you so gun-ho or might be so desperate at a point, you just like, I need to get married. I'm at this point. I made all this money. Everybody's telling me I need to get married. So you married a guy who's a very simple man. That's just like, no, I don't want to go out for dinner every night. I don't want to, take trips. I'm good with taking one trip a year. I don't have to take 4 or 5 trips. And those types of people you may want to stay away from if you know that this is the lifestyle you want to live, because all it's going to do is cause a lot of controversy in your relationship. So you'll be fighting a lot more than you have to be if you was to go ahead and wait for the man or just only date men who fit those qualities that you like. If you like extravagant gifts, don't date a man who makes $60,000 a year, because you realize that he's not going to be able to afford those things. And it's unfair to put that type of stress on him to say, oh, I don't need except Gucci and Louis. If you're not bringing me a Louis purse, I don't want it. You know, that's unfair to do to someone. Yeah. So unless you can really inside of yourself say, okay, the man that loves me and that's gonna, you know, I know that's gonna cherish my heart, and if he makes $60,000, then I will readjust my lifestyle and readjust my wants and my desires, because I guarantee you most of those women, they didn't grow up getting Louis and, you know, all of that good stuff.
But so what if she can afford it herself?
If she can't afford it herself, it's fine if she goes out and buy it herself, but don't expect him. You have to still appreciate what he brings. So if he brings you something from I don't know, if he brings you something Macy's. Yeah, Walmart. If he brings you a gift from Macy's, you should still be as appreciative as if he was gonna buy you something out of, you know, Yves Saint Laurent. You know, it should still, because it's from his heart. Right. Because guess what? A lot of those men who make a lot of money, trust me, the gifts are nice, but the heartache that comes with it, a lot of it. Yes. And you're not going to get a lot of time with them. So if you want a man who's going to give you time and be concerned about you, because those men don't have a whole lot of time. Men who make over $500,000 a year, they don't have a lot of extra time to be wooing you, to be whining and dying you. They're focused on their money.
That's very true. And a woman that lives on that level that LadieVee is describing, if she has her own home and her own this and her own that and so forth and so on, it's very difficult, believe it or not, for a woman like that to get with someone on, I don't want to say a lower level, but I want to say, and it's not all about money. It's not all about money, but it's all about the position of the man. It's all about the position. He's a man. You can't take that away from him, and you shouldn't want to take that away from him. But a woman that lives on that level, she needs to make sure that she gets hooked up with somebody on that level.
Right.
Because but to be honest with you, now let's talk about that. Because a lot of men that are on that level, they have, see, the problem is, I agree with you to a certain extent. Men that are on that level, they have a little bit of a pickiness going on. Okay. Absolutely. So she may have to step down a little bit versus a man, because men have choices. They do. They have choices. A man that is well established, that has money, that has it going on, he got a whole vision of a woman that he wants, and he can get her. That is the bigger thing. He can get that woman that he wants. If he, whatever he has fantasized in his mind that he wants, he can go and get her. The more money he got, the more choices he has. Absolutely. Versus a woman that is single, that is independent, that has her own, she still does not have as many choices as a man does. You have a lot of
no, she doesn't. That's true. That's true. No, she don't. That's why she needs to stay single. She gonna make somebody miserable.
Well, I don't think that all women will make a man miserable, more so than there has to be a mutual respect from him that, okay, I can take care of myself. I can provide for myself, and I don't need your money. I don't, but I do need your companionship, because the thing about it is, he may never be able to give her what she wants, but she loves him for himself. And I think that that's where the it doesn't even have to be riches. I see a lot of men that are they're intimidated by just the whole aura of the independent woman.
Exactly.
She's got her own life. She has her own style. She has her own this. She has her own that. And now you got to kind of think about it. It's like, okay, so how do I get with someone if men are intimidated by me like that?
Well, you made a good point, because that is true. The man can become intimidated. So when you talk about coming into a relationship, you're not talking about just you. You're talking about the feelings of the other person. And the average man will get intimidated. So what you do is you stay single, because you definitely will hurt that man's feelings. I'm telling you, I see it happening all the time.
Okay, so if they're
It's
already
hard for a
married,
man to accept a woman on a much higher level than he is if he's insecure, because you got to be careful. You got to know a lot about a person's background, because if a man is insecure, he's going to be intimidated. I can promise you that.
so if they're married, now she's gotten an education and she's gotten elevated. What do you do?
Well, you're already
She
married.
went from making less than him,
Right.
then making much more than him.
Right.
What do you do?
That's a different
Because
story.
now she took the family to a high level of living by herself.
No, she didn't. We took. Once again, if she went to a higher level and she's making more money, that money's still going in that pot. It's not her money. It's our money.
But
Your money anymore.
everything that comes along with it now, the traveling, the lifestyle, it changes. So does she not do that because he's intimidated?
No, and I don't think a lot of men will get intimidated if it's comes into play after the fact. You can't. I don't see a man holding a woman back and saying, no, don't take that job because you'll be making much more than me. No, I think, once again, putting that money together, we can do a lot more. And I think a man would relish that. I really do. I've seen it happen.
I don't know. I see more of the men getting intimidated as the woman becomes elevated.
I think that only
Because
happens if a woman is constantly telling a man that, oh, well, I make this amount of money. I think that's when it would come into, because you're kind of, it becomes the peacock thing. You're trying to show your colors, like, well, I make such and such amount of money. Right. So at one point we was making this, but now I make this amount of money. Now, if you're going around boasting about it, then of course it will cause some contention. But other than that, if it's a thing where, you know what, this is what we've done, because one thing I know is if you were able to go to school, somebody had to pick up the slack while you were going to school, which is probably him. So you can't, just because you got a degree and now you're making, you're probably now making six figures. Don't look down at the man who held you down when you weren't that. And he's the one who helped you get there. Don't frown your nose down to him now because you feel as though you have arrived. Because without him, you not being able to stand on his shoulders, you would still be the same woman that he met however many years ago.
And that's very true. And I can attest to that, because while I was going to school, my husband had to pick up a lot.
Yeah.
He had to do a lot because I had to study. It was a lot. It was a lot on the family.
Exactly.
But, he went to school. I picked up. I went to school. He picked up. You have to have that cohesiveness. You have to have an understanding. And it's no longer you. It's us. Exactly. It's what we're doing together, because that's going to come up. Especially when you have family gatherings. Oh, I heard you got an elevation. Oh, you must be making much more than Billy Boy. Yeah, I do. No, you can't come off like that. That's what causes men to become intimidated. Right. Oh, no. We get along. We're fine. Whatever we make, we make together. You have to straighten family members out because it will come up.
Okay, so last form of the independent woman is the independent woman that gets the man and brings him in and buys him everything. And I think we talked about that on one of the other shows, like Acrimony. So she had the money, she took care of him, but then it came with some terms and agreements. And when it didn't work out, it didn't go well. So you have a lot of women that do that. They tell a man, oh, you can come in, I'll take
Mhm.
care of you, I'll pay your
Mhm.
bills, I'll get you financially situated, don't worry about it, I'll take you to dinner, I'll wash your clothes and everything, because I can do it all. I'm not that woman, but okay. So that, what do you do with that woman? Because
That's a
then when the
desperate
man
woman.
wants,
She's
okay, so
desperate.
She's
that's
desperate.
She's trying to buy his affection.
definitely
She's trying to buy
independent.
his love.
And she's gonna get sick of it.
Yep. And then she's gonna throw it back in his face. So he's not gonna be able to make any decisions. Because once he decides to stand up on his own 2 feet and say, I'm a man, then she'll be like, oh, you're not a man because I did this for you and I did that. And that's its worst kind for men and women. The
Yeah.
worst kind of person you can get with. The person that will act like they want to give you the world, and
Mhm.
then at a snap of a finger, they
Mhm.
throw it all back up in your face
Yes,
to make you feel worse than the
Mm,
lowest of low.
that's right.
And so I think with those type of people, they try to buy people, they try to buy love, they try to buy affection, but that's their source of control.
Right.
And you have to make sure that you're not trying to control someone, trying to control how they operate, who they become and how other people see them in your life. You have to be very, very careful about people who just like, oh no, I give you this, oh no, I give you that, I give you that, because most of the time when people give you something,
They're
that's
looking
the
for something in
expectation
return. Yeah.
is attached to it. I remember years ago, this guy gave me a car, right? And my dad comes home from work, and my dad's like, Joy, whose car is this in the driveway? So I'm like, oh, that's my car. And he's like, that's your car. When did you go buy a car? And I was like, Dad, I didn't buy a car. Such and such gave me a car. And the first thing my father said, Joy, give that car back. And I'm like, why, Dad? He could bought me a car. My father was like, Joy, give that car back. He was like, you have a car. You don't need an extra car. Give that car back. And I was just like, well, but Dad, why? And he would just be like, because those types of things come with expectations. That man's not giving you a car
For
just
nothing.
because.
Mm-hmm.
There's an expectation that you probably can't fulfill. So give that man back his car. So of course I gave the man back his car. But that was a lesson learned, because I'm sure that if I would have kept that car, it would have been, oh, well, don't have no other men driving in it. Well, where you going? Oh, I'm going to get the car back. And that's all the things my father didn't want me to have to deal with, being out somewhere and then my car getting repossessed because this man that called is like, oh, take this car back because she's out with such and such. You have to think ahead. Just don't think about the moment. You have to think ahead and think,
That's right.
is this person doing this out the purity of their heart, or are they trying to control the situation? And if they're trying to control the situation, leave it alone.
That's right. That's right. I agree. I totally agree. It's just like women, like the word desperate is a key word. Men taking, going out to eat. Oh, I got it. Oh, I got it. Oh, I got it. And then after you come get into a relationship and you go out to dinner and the man is sitting there and the check comes, he's waiting for you to got it. Since you got it all
right.
those times, you got it now.
Yeah, you got it now. You got it
Got it
now.
now.
That's true.
I know when I go out to
That's
dinner, I
true.
just
And
after I eat, I wash my hands and I start getting my purse to put back on my shoulder, get ready to leave.
Yep.
I don't ask nothing. I
well, the
don't ask,
one thing I
how
can
much.
say,
I don't look at the right side of the menu. You taking me out to dinner? I order.
well, the one thing I can say that I really would encourage women to do, whether you're independent, especially those who are taking care of themselves, it's okay to allow a man to do, you know.
Absolutely.
It is okay to allow a man to do, in all seriousness. And I love the comments that Daph made, and Joy, and Dr. Bennett. It's not so much about the money.
No, it's not.
It's about the respect.
That's right.
Men always need to know that they're needed. And
Respect
I
it.
think that that's where that eliminates that intimidation. Yeah, you may be able to bring in that type of money. You may be able to buy houses, cars, and everything. But he needs to know that he's valued. He needs to know that regardless of what your career is, whether you're a superstar or whether you're that person that just goes in and works a 9 to 5. He needs to know that he fits somewhere in your life. And I think that that's important. So, you
Yeah.
know, I think that's where the irritation comes in, because we can be a little overwhelming the more independent we become, because then we eliminate that man's opinion and we let him know, I don't really need you.
This is
you know
this is a note for women that have young children. You can't. You should never strip the dad from doing with that child or children,
yeah,
and don't expect for him to do it the way you do it. Because when you start doing that, and I got it, I'll do it, men will step aside. And then when
they
you
will.
need him to help you with those children, and you will, they no, I can't do it like you do it. I can't change the diaper like you change it. I can't make the bottles. I can't do this. I can't do. So, you got it. And they'll just move aside. And it's not healthy, because now frustration sets in. You feel like you're the single, you're married and single, a single parent, and so forth and so on. So let men be who they are, and you do your thing. I just don't think that it's good to strip a man
And it's
from.
also okay. It's okay to step down when he said he wants to cook you a meal, or he wants to do something for you.
Absolutely.
It's okay. We don't have
It's not
to. I
good.
think that a lot. I think a lot of times women believe that they are the
The
doer
only
of
one.
all things. You
Mhm.
out there trying to prove something. You ain't gonna
Mhm.
prove anything. It's okay to say, "Oh, okay, you got it. All right."
Mhm.
I love when my husband offers to cook. I'm like, "Oh, okay. Hey, I do not go on an independent trip and, oh no, you can't be in the kitchen. No, if you want to cook, I'm good. You go ahead right ahead and do whatever you're gonna do in that kitchen. It's okay. If he wants to do the laundry, if he wants to clean up, whatever. His way, and like Dr. Bennett said, his way may not be your way. Listen, I wash the floor totally different from Derek. I don't really care how Derek washes the floor. If he wants to wash the floor, he can wash the floor. It does not have to be my way, because I don't want to wash the floor. So if that's something that he wants to do, why am I gonna get
Yeah.
upset? It's like we get on this independent kick, and it's like that's why men pull away, because he's like, well, what can I do for you? What am I good for if I can't do something? And that's really tough. That's really tough.
But something interesting that we talked about, that man that makes that 5 mil or whatever, and a lot of men in this day and time, they've been married before with that woman that made a good, brought in a certain amount of money. The marriage didn't work. They divorced. They go and get a plain Jane, somebody that will make them
Oh yeah.
feel like, wow, a woman with nothing, never had nothing, and it happens every time. I mean, I just went across, had a client just the other day. I mean, she had a man that was, I mean, the boy was dirt rich. I mean, filthy rich. And now the tides have changed. I mean, he just want this little girl that just came out of Newark. Give me this plain girl, because that other chick ain't it. Give me this plain little. Well, how'd you get tied up with her? Because I want somebody that can appreciate me. That's what I want.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, ladies, it is time. This has been a great topic. We have been talking about the independent woman. Are men really intimidated? Don't really know. We didn't have the guys to come on and comment, but we'll maybe have a part 2, because I really would like to hear what the guys have to say about this topic. But you have been watching Breaking the Silence, Keeping It 100 with Lady V, and we air every Thursday now. at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. We had to kind of switch our time a little bit just due to work hours and scheduling, but I think we finally found a time that is convenient for everyone. So hopefully this will be a good time for our viewers as well. But next week we will be airing again on Thursday at 8:30. So definitely come on and join us. I'm not sure what the topic is going to be, but it's going to be a hot topic. But until then, I want to thank Dr. Yvonne Bennett for being on the show and Joy for being on the show. And you'll see us next week. But always remember, everybody, the most important thing you always have a voice. It's important to us to know. So if you even have a topic that you want us to discuss, put it out there. Let us know. We'll be happy to talk about it because we want to hear what you have to say. But until next week, you be blessed. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.